Hello, it's Jenny Edwards, your hostess of the Dynamic Entrepreneurs. And I am really excited today to welcome and introduce an amazing woman, the Wealthy Life Mentor, Emerald GreenForest. I love your name. It's just so activating of awesomeness, Emerald.
Thank you. I love my name too. I'm very grateful for it.
And Emerald is the founder and lead visionary of Creative Age Consulting Group, the Wealthy Life Mentor. She is internationally known as a speaker, a transformation artist, Be the Change Movement to Watch award winner, and one of America's premier experts. She also is executive producer, hostess of the Apple Top 100 ranked Men on Purpose podcast, and also the Apple Top 100 ranked podcast, Wickedly Smart Women. And she also is hired to consult with high achieving leaders who are really called to be the vanguard of the creative age. So I would really ecstatically like to welcome Emerald to our show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jenny. I love the ecstatic welcome. How much more ecstasy can we bring to the world? Yes, please. More, please.
Exactly. If it's not fun, then what's the point, right?
Exactly. If it's not fun, we're not doing it.
So I've had the pleasure of knowing you from different aspects of like personal development and business development and the New Media Summit. And I'm super excited that you could be here today as part of this event. And I'm just would love for you to share a little bit more about what you do.
Awesome. Well, as you mentioned in the introduction, I am the executive producer and the host of two Apple Top 100 ranked podcasts. Men on Purpose was launched in January of 2018. Wickedly Smart Women was just launched in September of 2019. And it actually beat the men into the top 100 because the Men on Purpose podcast was top 200 up until about 2 weeks after the Wickedly Smart Women went to 75 in the entrepreneurship category on Apple. So I think the Men on Purpose podcast just looked at the women and said, damn, we got to get ourselves together.
Gotta catch up here.
Gotta catch up. So I'm doing that. And I'm also mentoring, creative age leaders, people who are change agents and visionaries and authors and speakers and coaches and consultants from all over the world who are interested in turning their wisdom into wealth. And so I support them to create a life that's a work of art and that is based in what I like to call the wealth vibration.
Ooh,
so, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. So, what was it in your life that called you to get into this type of work?
Well, I have been in the personal and professional development field since about 2008, actively in the online space. And before that, I had a 20-year career in the real estate business. My last project was 51 single family houses, 56 apartments, and an office building that was then followed by a spiritual awakening. And after my spiritual awakening, I ended up becoming a healer and an artist, and I had my own art gallery and healing art center, and I produced a street festival 2 years in a row that brought 6,500 people to my town. And then my son was hitting puberty, and I had a call to speak. Partly what happened was my art gallery and healing art center was not functional financially. And it was important for me to be real with myself and close the art gallery. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I kind of wandered around for a year. I spent a year in what I call the wandering and wondering phase. Like, what the heck am I supposed to do with myself now? And then I got activated, and I got really, really activated to speak. And more than just speak, I was activated to speak at a global level. And back in 2008, I didn't know what the heck that meant or what that looked like. So I took my very first course. I flew out to San Diego and took this course to learn how to speak. And the speakers that I took the course from were on the road speakers. So they were on the road like 225 days out of the year. And I was about to get my second divorce happening. And my son was, 12 years old or so at the time. And I said, I can't do that. I can't be on the road 225 days out of the year and parent full time, because I was fully committed to parenting full time. So thankfully, the technology angels have been answering the prayers so that I could answer my call. And I found a way to start speaking online. And I've been speaking online since 2009. I've been heard by millions of people around the world, and made multiple millions from home in my pajamas as a single mom while I was raising my son and baking the brownies and the chocolate chip cookies for the football games. Because I wasn't willing to sacrifice one or the other. I knew I had to follow my calling, and I was definitely unwilling to sacrifice the calling to be a full-time mom too.
Yeah. Wow. So tell us about the spiritual awakening. Was it like an event that you went to that you just knew like something just isn't fulfilling me in what I'm doing, and you were called to go on your hero's journey story?
Yeah, so it wasn't really an event other than the event of my son being born. Like when
that's
he
a
was
huge
born,
event.
yeah, that was a huge event. That was a huge event. And when he was born, he was an emergency C-section 6 weeks early. So there was quite a lot of trauma around that experience. And there was, for 12 weeks, he screamed his lungs out for 12 weeks until I finally figured out that he was allergic to the prenatal vitamins that I was still taking after I had him, because I didn't know any better. And so, yeah, we had a lot of trauma around his birth. And, anytime you have a traumatic experience in your life, it's going to start to crack open some shells that you didn't even know you had around you and around your life. And what ended up happening was kind of over time, from the time he was born until probably about, I don't know, he was probably about 3 or so, maybe 4, somewhere in that time zone, I began to feel more and more and more disillusioned with the life that I had created, and more and more and more, asking myself, is this all there is, right? I had the life. I was the national chairperson of my trade association. I was building 51 single family houses, 56 apartments, and an office building with 2 partners. I was raising my son with my, at that point, soon to be ex-husband. He didn't become a husband until 2000 and, let's see, when did he become a husband? He became a husband in 2002. But so in this time period, between the time my son was born until he was about 6 or 7 years old, that 7-year period was like this period of like, what is going on in my life? And I started to like look for answers. And I had some books that fell off the shelf, like Conversations with God, and Return to Love by Marianne Williamson fell off the shelf, which gave me permission to get divorced. And then I started a yoga practice in 2001 when I was deep in a space of, is this marriage like that was right around when I got the permission to get a divorce from Marianne's book. I was deep in that, and I started a yoga practice because I had hurt myself skiing, and went through physical therapy and became aware that they were running yoga at that space in that gym. And I asked my physical therapist, can I do yoga? And he was like, yeah, as long as nothing hurts, just don't do it if it hurts. And I started a yoga practice in May of 2001. And by August of 2001, I had a full-on spiritual awakening in a yoga class in the park under a tree. Now, I was a real estate gal. I was like a builder developer. I was like national chair of my trade association, and I'm lying in the park and I have my third eye burst open, and I could see angelic beings going up and down this golden staircase, and these golden white orbs of light going up and down this golden staircase in my mind's eye. And when I sat up and opened my physical eyes in the park, everyone was a golden white orb of light in the park. And I saw these golden white orbs, and then I got in my car and I could see the golden white orbs of light in the cars that were driving towards me down the road. And I was like, am I going to be seeing like this for like,
what was
what
in that
is
water?
this? What the heck is this? Right? So that was the first of multiple, additional spiritual awakening experiences, but I would qualify that as like the initial popping open.
Wow. Okay. So for those of you that are watching, how can you relate this to your own life? Maybe you've never seen orbs of light, but maybe there's been a spiritual awakening of your own that helped you see a totally different perspective of what's possible, right? I mean, for all of us, as we look at our own story and to really appreciate, those moments or those events or activities that you've done that really call to us to see, like, there's a different way of being. Then am I feeling fully satisfied by how my life is, and to be able to see what's possible, even just, from under the tree. Like, what a shift. Wow. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. And I think the yoga teacher also was an activator for me, because when I first started the yoga, I was hugely stressed out. Like, I had a massive, busy all the time, stressed out life. It looked like what the quote American dream, close quote, was supposed to look like, but it was massively stressful. And when I walked into that yoga class, she emanated peace. And I said to myself, I don't know what the heck she's doing. I don't care if I have to paint my toenails purple and stand on my head. I want what she has, right? I want that. And it was not too long after that declaration that I made that I was able to go from 29 days of being massively stressed out a month out of 31 or 30 to 29 days of pretty peaceful and, maybe one or two snafu-y kinds of days. So, yeah.
Yeah, big shift. Wow. So tell us what, since the theme of the summit is about monetizing your message, and you're clearly doing some really big things in the world, and you've been doing this in the online space for many, many years, what insights do you have to our viewers about monetizing their message?
Great question. I love this question. And it was a question like this that actually led me to monetize my mission back in 2009. In 2008, when I first got bitten by the speaking bug, I did not know what I did not know. Okay. So step number one, I would say, if you are here to monetize your mission, get help right away, because there's stuff that you don't know, that you can't see, that you'll never see, and you can get to the top of what I like to call Messenger Mountain. You can get to the top by yourself, but it could take 100 years, and you could fall off the crevasse 27 times, and you could go down the blind pass 50 times, and you could just, run out of food and get caught in the thunderstorms and all of those things. But if you go up Messenger Mountain with a Sherpa, the Sherpa is going to help you to just avoid all of those things and be focused on the journey, which is to come to the top of Messenger Mountain where everyone can see you and hear you and want to play with you and work with you and pay you. So take a Sherpa would be number one.
I love
and
that.
Sherpas come in many forms, right? Sherpas come in many forms. Jenny is a Sherpa. I'm a Sherpa. Most of the people you're listening to on this summit are probably Sherpas of some sort. So find the Sherpa that has the right vibe for you, and pay for the experience that Sherpa has already put under their belt. Be willing to invest to generally high levels. I mean, I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in my own acquiring of Sherpas over time. And every single time I invest, it always pays off. sometimes it doesn't pay off in financial results. Sometimes it pays off in personal development results. Sometimes it pays off in, just learning the lessons results, but it always pays off. So number
Yeah.
two, be willing to invest. And then the third thing I would say about monetizing your mission is make sure that, um, whether it's the Sherpa who's going to help you with your business, who also does this on the side, as part of their thing. Like I come to the table with both, like a hybrid model with both the inner game as well as the structure stuff. And some mentors are straight on structure. Some mentors are straight on inner game. I call myself a hybrid because I bring both to the table. So if you have any kind of inner game stuff around money, you have got to address that. You must address that. And I would say that that is actually the first thing that you need to address before you go spending a bunch of money setting up business, because when you're in business, it means that you are having sales conversations, and it means that you are receiving money. And if you have any money, programming or conditioning or blocks or stumbles that you've had in the past that you haven't forgiven yourself from, or any of those things, it's going to translate into your business and really cause a lot of suffering that's unnecessary. So get your inner work done on the money piece.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a really good one. That's a really, really good one. And smart about, making it be the first step if that needs to be addressed, for sure.
Yeah, like when I had my art gallery and healing arts center, I was hemorrhaging money. And now in retrospect, I look back and I say to myself, oh, if I had only, instead of having that be my money lesson, right? If I had known then what I know now, I would have gone in for the money healing before I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and had all kinds of, ugly stuff in the fallout at the end of it. And yeah, so definitely get your money mindset, your inner game around sales, your internal compass around money really clear, and understand the value that you have to offer. If you are being called, it is because you have value to offer. You may not be able to see that right now. You may not even be able to price that properly right now. A Sherpa will help you with that, but you would not be called if you didn't have something of huge value to deliver into the world. And money is the form of exchange for you delivering that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so if you're watching this, be sure to listen to that last part, because this is essential in your transformation. So tell us, do you have some kind of cool bonus for our viewers or something amazing to share?
I do. I actually am so excited. I've created a quiz, and the
Ooh.
quiz is the Wealth Readiness Quiz. It takes you through a very quick process. It's under 5 minutes. You take the quiz, and it will tell you your wealth readiness score. And so, yeah, I would highly encourage anybody who's watching the summit or listening to the summit to go ahead and take the Wealth Readiness Quiz. That is at quiz.wealthylifementor.com.
Great. We'll post that on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll put that in the email too.
Yay.
So definitely take this opportunity, because this is what can create powerful shifts for you in monetizing your message. So definitely go to that quiz. I'm excited. I want to check it out.
Yeah, baby. And I do want to just drop in that for me, a wealthy life is more than just money. Money is about 20% of the wealthy life. It includes your time, your health, the ideas that you have, and creativity that you have, as well as fun time with your family, friends, and fellow travelers on the path. So for me, wealth is all of those. It's the sum total of all of the resources that we have available to us. And money is an important pillar of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like abundance in all these different key areas. And, and it's so necessary, like you mentioned about the quality time that we get to spend, because we can have the opportunities to delegate, those things like have the Sherpa to help guide us up Messenger Mountain and not be doing everything ourselves.
Exactly.
And to get a quality mentors to help the process so that we can have time to spend with the people that we love the most.
Exactly. Quick story, when in 2010, when I made my first very big investment, it was like I took my home equity line to give to a mentor. Right after that, I fell on an actual mountain and broke my wrist. And at the time I was doing everything, and literally the mountain came and sent me the message that you actually need to delegate. And so my hairdresser sent me to her sister, whose business name was Extra Hands. And that was when I started delegating, was back in 2010, and I've not looked back since.
That's a good lesson, a painful one, but.
And another reason why you want to monetize your message, because the more you are able to monetize, the more you're able to delegate.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Well, thank you for sharing that. I love the transformational little anecdotes and all of the fun things that you've shared today with us, Emerald. And and tell us again how we can follow your podcasts.
Yes. So I would love to have you go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review. 5 stars is welcome. My Men on Purpose podcast. If you are a woman, you can certainly listen to the Men on Purpose podcast and give it a 5-star review too. I don't think that they are exclusive in terms of listeners. I know I have many women listeners for the Men on Purpose podcast, and also the Wickedly Smart Women podcast. Again, the audience is probably both men and women, but the guests on Wickedly Smart Women are women, and the guests on Men on Purpose are men. So yeah, just go to either one of those things on Apple or on your iTunes, on Overcast, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, like it's everywhere. If you just look those up, you'll find them. And please download, rate, review, and give us feedback, because we love feedback. Thanks.
Yeah, I was just listening to Wickedly Smart Women today.
Oh, cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you were listening. Yay.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited you're going to be on the show myself.
Yeah,
I can't wait till your episode.
Yeah, I'll definitely be sharing that in a big way.
For sure.
So for those of you that are watching, we've learned some really great insights from Emerald today, and about our Messenger Mountain, and finding the Sherpas to guide us there, and just being really, active, like open to the activation of making the shift too, because, the fulfillment in life, it's like life is too short not to feel satisfied and fulfilled by what you're creating and what you're putting out there. And I know, Emerald, you've just achieved a huge amount of success in so many different areas of your life. You're such an inspiration. And I greatly appreciate you, your time here today and sharing your wisdom. So
Thank
great.
you so much for having me, Jenny. I so deeply appreciate the opportunity to be of service. And I want to tell everyone that, yes, I've accomplished a lot of things. And I scoop the poop out of the cat litter box, and I put my pants on the same way you do, one leg at a time. So if I can do it, you can do it as well.
Perfect. But some things, that we can look forward to delegating to.
Exactly. I haven't gotten that far yet on the cat poop.
Awesome. Well, I will say goodbye, and thank you to all of you that are watching. Thank you, Emerald, and go have an incredibly inspiring day. Bye.